Visible mending at the Hallsbow Library this year, and we all had to learn a whole lot about it. And I'd like to briefly go over visible mending today, and hopefully we can have a project on it with the group next year. I think you'd all enjoy it. This is my example of visible mending.
Nice.
Although I must admit I wasn't mending, I was just decorating. So visible mending, actually, it repairs the textiles in a visual way. Instead of, like our mothers and our aunties did, everything had to be hidden. Dad's work jeans, you could not see the patches. Now we're doing it, and we're doing it deliberately. I never have purchased a single thing that I haven't had to alter the sleeves. So this was just a more fun way of altering my sleeves that really is mending, altering. It's a lot of decoration nowadays, and I'll go into the grunge and punk movement in just a minute. The methods are as many as you can think of. The darning and the embroidery and patching and cross-stitching, crochet, you name it. If it can be done on textiles, it can be done to visibly mend your clothing. I saw a picture of one being done on a couch that looked like a college junior's boys' dorm room couch. It was pretty disgusting. Tools, any tool you've got in your room, any tool you've got in your sewing room, from the darning needles to, I've never used tailor's chalk before now. Tailor's chalk was critical. All sorts of different needles, different sizes, darning needles. I found these when we sorted yesterday. It's actually a needle kit that costs 25 cents. That tells you how old they are. But some of them are actually upholstery needles, and they would work for these. Needles, threads, ruler. Ruler if you want to do straight lines, critical. And then, of course, as we learned, needle threaders. These needles are difficult, so really high quality needle threaders. And I had to relearn how to use a thimble. Thimbles are important, and this happens to be a silicone thimble, which fits better on the finger and feels better, but you're going to need a thimble. Repair tape, I used some with the sewing press and iron-on repair tape as well. Oops. The materials, any scrap of fabric, threads, sashiko threads. I found that you can't find them locally. You got to get sashiko threads online. But you've got your pearl cotton, you've got yarns, you've got embroidery thread. 3 strands of embroidery thread work pretty much like sashiko, although it's a little harder to keep them in line. Patches. Embroidered patches. If you're doing something like color, you can embroider a patch and sew it on top of your damaged garment. Any kind of a patch that you may find. And a lot of people will actually use their leftover quilt blocks. We all end up with 1 or 2 leftover quilt blocks. You can cut them up and use them on patches, especially on your denim jacket that you wear to class. Steam-a-seam. Any kind of a double-sided iron-on. We all have grandmothers who had crochet. I have an old apron here. It's stained and it's got holes in it, but it'd be perfect to cut up for a patch. Tools include darning light bulbs. Did you ever sit on your grandmother's knee when she darned a pair of socks? Well, this is much nicer nowadays because the LED ones are plastic. You don't have to worry about dropping them or the dog getting a hold of them. There's a lot of different styles of the stitching. I think I skipped a space. No, I didn't. Okay. We saw a lot of knits, using embroidery on the knits, different kinds of knit projects. Stains, using embroidery to cover a stain. Martha had a beautiful, beautiful sweater that she had covered up stains with leaves, weren't they, Martha? And it was exquisite. And this is one, I just love this, and this is my jacket back. It is fun. There is no hole there, but that's okay. Weaving on sweaters, it's easy to have a little hole in your sweater, so weaving with the yarn in this case and a bigger needle. Crochet, again, old crochet patches. I lived in Italy and got a lot of the table runners, hand crocheted table runners, and people will use them in their old icky blue jeans, behind the blue jeans, and they're really quite soft. You have to use a stitch around the outside or they will ravel. But this is a picture I found on the internet. The kids wear these jeans nowadays and they purchase them with holes in them. And one of these days they're not going to want the holes anymore. This would be a really fun way. I did find out though that if there's a lot of nylon or stretchy material in your blue jeans, it doesn't fray. So instead of looking like this, it looks like this. It just won't fray. So you lose some of the fun. I actually repaired my own, these are my yard jeans. Have a hole in them because they're yard jeans. And when I took this hem out because they shrank shorter, I tore a big hole in it. Well, they're good jeans and they're comfortable to work in the yard. This is one that's done by machine, so it is stronger. Machine or hand stitching works very well. The sashiko, most of us are familiar with sashiko stitching. There's a method of putting patch on top of patch on top of patch. It's called boro. It comes from Japan in the 1600s. Sashiko is the stitching and boro is the method, and it's patch on top of patch on top of patch. The fishermen would patch their jackets this way. Pretty soon they'd have these huge thick jackets all just patched for decades, and they handed them down to their children. You can see, this is just a denim jacket and it's more of a designer, but you can find.
How do you spell that for me?
B-O-R-O.
B-O-R-O.
Yeah, it is just B-O-R-O. And it comes, I did write it down. The 1600s to the period of time in Japan was the 1600s to the middle 1800s. So that's how long it's been around and that's how long it's been taken care of. There was also a lady in the 70s who was instrumental in the punk and the grunge clothing era, where in those days the musicians would rip their clothes intentionally, and this is nothing any of us would want to do, but I'll pass it around. This is where somebody, a grunge artist, actually ripped his sweater intentionally on stage and then put it back together with safety pins. Don't show this to teenagers. I don't think you'd want to ever show something like this to a teenager. And that was it. So do I have any questions? That's what I've got for you today. Hopefully we can give it a try, and it is kind of creative. It's a way of expressing your creativity as well.